Hello and welcome to my world of crochet. My name is Stine and today I'm here with another yarn talk video. And as always, we cannot really talk yarn without me having my faithful mug of tea here. And today that is a Dialing tea. Last weekend I went to Germany for a little bit of grocery shopping, and I also came across a lovely loose tea blend of a fine Dialing, basically. So a loose tea from the mountains of the Himalayas. It's a nice sweet flavor of a black tea, and yeah, I'm really enjoying it. So it was definitely worth the money to buy, so to say. Can warmly recommend Dialing if you haven't had it before. Yarn talks are of course the weekly updates, and I haven't finished any projects since last time, but I've progressed on others. And looking at what I've been doing, it feels like, so I currently have 5 VIPs and I do present them in order, and I think, so I've sort of worked on 3.5 of them. And how do I say half? Yeah, that's because the 4th that I worked on, I frogged again. And I do apologize for a bit of the background noise. Apparently some of our birds are fighting outside. Well, not our birds, but wildlife birds. Not much I can do about that. But the first work in progress that I have, or the first project I have, is the Oasis Cardigan. And technically I haven't done anything on it because this is where we got into the frogging part. Last week I had started on the sleeves, and apparently the patterns say you work on the sleeves in the round, and afterwards you sort of sew them on the project. And when I compared the gap, the width of the arm sleeve to the arm gap I had, it just didn't match up or add up very nicely. So I was like, that's not gonna work out, or at least it's gonna look really, really weird. And maybe it's gonna like feel too narrow and not smooth out nicely and whatnot. Read the pattern again, I was like, it's just a few things didn't add up. So I ended actually up having a discussion with my mom about it last weekend, and we came to the conclusion that why not just try to crochet the sleeves on directly on the project, instead of making them apart and then sewing together to get this extra edge basically on the inside, an extra seam. So why not just crochet them on? It would be a more smooth transaction, and that should definitely be possible. So I attempted, and I got about a round, not even a full round, and I realized I didn't pay enough attention because there are some pieces where some of the gaps are jumped over in the other pattern. So to prevent it's not becoming really huge, I just need to be a little bit more paying attention when I'm adding it. So I frogged that part, and now I'm kind of like ready to start over. As you can see, yarn frogged is kind of here. It should look like this. So this is just because I wrapped it up a bit tighter, but this is the baby merino I'm using for it. Again, Drops Design, lovely baby merino mix. It is a very soft and nice and wonderful baby merino to work in. Just don't frog it too often, then it kind of untwines a bit in the strands. And it's the yarn group 8, so it's like the thinnest yarn, so it's like a sport weight kind of yarn, maybe a little bit thinner than sport weight. Colorway 22, which is the slight baby gray, 100% superwash treated merino wool. They recommend 3mm needles. I'm using 3.5mm for this project. It was also what the project called for. It is 1.75 ounces to 175 meters, so that is 191 yards. So 50 grams is the 1.75 ounces. And I think I started with like 11 skeins of these, 11 or 13, I don't remember anymore. That's in the yarn haul video related to this one. And of course the pattern for the Oasis Cardigan is in the description box down below. So what's important to the pattern is that there's a place where you like need to take in or decrease in the rounds on the sleeves, because else they're going to be really wide. And of course that's ideal to do it under the arms so they are least visible. So what I did do also is that I kind of marked those points on the project. So the blue stitch marker here is what's the top on the outer circle, and then as you can see now should have, it's not very visible because they popped on this side. This is more visible on this side. I have added stitch markers here to the bottom of the sleeve, and there is one in the same exact location on the other side. I'm just gonna flip it out. It's right there. And that's kind of indicating where I'm going to start adding in, or very close, and also around where I have to decrease. I also found an old piece of scrap yarn of about 1/2 meter or so that I'm going to like follow up. So I keep track of where I'm decreasing, so it's not going all the way in wrong directions. But that's what I'm basically gonna do. I'm gonna crochet the arms straight onto this project instead of making them loose and then having to sew them on afterwards. At least I decided it's worth to give it a try. We talked about it a few times as well, that this cardigan, just as cardigan without sleeves, could definitely also just be used as a very nice vest. It does look really, really nice. And I do agree. So, you know, if the sleeves aren't working out, I'm not gonna weave in ends before I know that that's what I want. And if the sleeves aren't working out, I'll just frock it again and keep it as a vest, and I'll use the remaining merino wool for something else. It's, you know, it's an easy choice in that sense, but it is it's still quite nice, and I'm really looking forward to be able to wear this because, yeah, I think it's gonna be super, super nice here for the summer. It's worked in around. It's been taking me like forever. It feels like it's been taking forever. That's the main pattern on the circle. This is on the arms, on the sleeves. So you start by having a lot of just the regular gaps, and then eventually you add a few of these to the cuffs so they look nicer. And that's basically, instead of working these two pieces loose and sew them on, I will work them straight into the project. The only downside I see is that I have to like rotate this as I work on the sleeves. So it's not like a convenience project for when you're on the couch, because it almost feels a bit big now. So it's easier, I think, when you have a table underneath where you can easily rotate it around. So that's kind of the plans for this. I'm going to try to add the sleeves with the help of just crocheting them straight into the project. So, you know, like make a slip knot, attach the yarn, and then just follow the pattern as if this whole arm gap, see if I can just find one, here we have, and then treat this whole arm gap as my chain. And then, you know, where we have the spaces, which is normally where it would be entered, these loose ones, is basically how I am going to also work in the double crochets in the chain. So that's what I'm gonna do. And then, well, it might be a little bit like, it does leave room, but you know, I think it's better to have some looser opening towards the sleeve than it is to have them too tight, because that does give you the room to move a bit around. So yeah, that is how I'm gonna proceed with this, and I hope to have a good piece of it done for the next yarn talk video. Again, it kind of depends on the time I have available. We will take that time by time, because of course I do work on projects as my mood allows, though this one is one I'm slowly really wanting to get finished. And once my cardigan is finished, my Oasis cardigan, you guys, at least my members, are going to vote what drops project I will start on next, and what project that could be. You could all watch in my Sort My Stash 2024 drops edition. I have linked to that somewhere up here. You can find that video where you see me sort my drop yarn, and that could be one of those projects that I would start on next once the cardigan is finished. So I'm definitely slowly needing to prepare for that. And by that said, if you haven't subscribed yet, if you haven't hit that like button here down below, don't forget to do that. That really supports me and supports my work here on the channel. So yeah, thank you in advance. And of course, joining as a member is also a way for you to influence me as to what I'm gonna do next. I'm also using that for advices, opinions, and more. And of course, it just supports me even more. So welcome to anyone that's recently joined, and welcome to any new ones that's gonna be joining. So the next project I started working on, so we take them in chronological order, and the Oasis Cardigan really started on like last summer, so it's well overdue to get finished. It's been there for so long, and I'm slowly, you know, I'm kind of getting tired talking about it, and yet I really enjoy talking about it. But I think I'm at the stage where I really look forward to get it finished. So yeah, that's kind of the thing. So my TV and travel project, which is a project that I kind of want to have done quicker in the winter because it's a poncho and it is a really warm one. But the fact is also I need a project that I can work on mindlessly when I'm watching TV with my partner or when we are driving longer distances. Imagine now like an hour plus, especially on highway or something like that. I will usually bring a project with me, and that project here is perfect for it because it's just worked on the round and it's mindlessly the same. And it is the In-Lines Poncho by Tante Traad. And that is a Danish designer, and this is a Hobbii paid pattern. I have linked to the pattern down below, should you be interested. And I'm using the yarn art flowers, alpaca flowers, which is the same as Hobbie's Wheel of Alpaca yarn. It is, let's see, I do have a spec sheet. Yarn art flowers alpaca. It's 250 gram balls. I don't have much left, so as you can see, this is how much I have left. I need to add this to the poncho. Once that's gone, I'm done. You need 2 of those if you want to make a full sweater. It's classified as a 2-weight fine. I would probably call it more of a 3-weight. If I tighten up the thread, let's see. This is the yarn thread. If I do it like this, I would say a 3, but if I do like this, I would probably do a 2, but nobody really tightens this tension so much. And it is a bit fluffy and woolly, so a very thick 2 maybe, but I would probably personally say it's more like a DK weight. Can be washed at 30 degrees with hand wash, so hand wash 30 degrees, so that's 85 degrees Fahrenheit. You have to dry it flat, do not bleach. It can be ironed at low. I'm not sure if I would iron this piece though. Do not tumble dry. And then it is 20% alpaca and 80% acrylic. It's 250 grams skeins, so at 8.8 ounces to 940 meters, which is 1,027 yards. Normally, let's see if I can do this the right way. So around here is where I've added the cowl. You can actually see the slight line of where the cowl were added. But after adding the cowl, you know, normally cowl only gets added last, but I decided to add the cowl and then I could just use all the rest of the yarn. So I was sure that I had enough for the cowl, and then I could just add the rest to the bottom. I'm not really sure if it's practical to add it before or later, but that's how I chose to do it based on the yarn that I'm using, which is kind of the same yarn as the pattern is, but this is basically where we are at. If I'm going to try to hold it up a bit with cowl. So you can see that I changed to a little bit darker blue now. It is slowly really going to look very, very nice. I could just shortly take it over my head for those that would like to see it with, oh, this feels nice. I almost want to keep this on. It's every time I fit this one for you guys, I'm like, oh, I want to keep it on. I really want to finish this. But it is, as I said, my easy to go to project for when I'm behind the TV. And I need to consider what project will be my next for behind the TV or when I'm driving. if I'm stopping with this, unless of course I start on some sort of a new virus shawl or something like that, just to make a shawl, which is something that I could do, of course. Thoughts, but it feels so nice. It also even looks very nice. You can also like switch it around so that you have the long sides over your arms. But I think the cowl size is perfect. It's giving a nice warmth. And the funny thing is, I'm talking about this, it's nice and warm, but it is actually getting really nice spring. The sun is shining right now, at least at the moment of recording this video. And it's getting warmer outside. I'm really happy for the spring is finally coming. At least that's how it seems to be. So let's hope it's keep coming. But yeah, I really enjoy this. So I do simply, it's front post, back post, front post, back post, double crochets all the way around. At the tips, so there are gaps at each end, and those gaps I do 2 double crochets, chain 2 double crochets, and then I revert to front post, back post, front post, back post, all the way around, etc. When you start the round, normally you do chain 3, double crochet, chain 2 double crochets, and then you continue. I only do 2 double crochets, and that's because my experience is if I do 3, it seems to somehow enlarge my piece. Maybe, I don't know if I just do chains loosely or whatever it is, but it works out nicer like this. That's my personal experience. So that's basically why I do it. It's the same when I do chain 3 to turn for a double crochet. The gaps somehow, they just seem too big for me. But the chain 2 for me works. And I get that's not correct way of doing it, but it's working. And you know, that's what I really love with our crafts, that we can adapt things to fit us and to turn out the prettiest. But yeah, this I really enjoy the look and the feel of. And I know I inspired more people to make this exact poncho, even with other yarns. And you don't need to use the same yarns, you can definitely use other yarns. What's important, I think, is that I've been using a 5mm crochet hook. So if you are going to follow the pattern part, because here when you begin, you chain 108, and I've done that with a 5mm hook. I would maybe consider chaining a few less based on the count. If you use a larger hook size, and if you use a smaller hook size, you might want to add a few more. But basically you need to find something that fits, that when you do this, that it can easily go over your head without being too loose, and just make it fit, and you know, like personalize it based on the yarn you're using. But the 5mm hook is what I've been using for this project, which is a bit funny because their recommendation hook-wise is 3.5. And maybe that's due to the front post, back post that creates this way of doing it, and the yarn is a little bit fluffier. But I really enjoy the look of this, and I'm going to wear this a lot next winter. I might even wear it this summer if it's a chilly evening. But yeah, I think, you know, I started on it around Christmas, and this just shows, as I said, mainly work on when I'm watching a TV series with my partner, and I also require for me to be in mood to crochet, of course, when I'm watching the TV series, because I don't always crochet when I watch TV. And definitely when I'm driving, when we drive these longer distances, it's a wonderful project to work on. And around Christmas and the beginning of January, we were in Denmark twice. And Denmark for us is like 9.5 hours drive. I would also drive some of the way, and some of the way might have been too dark to crochet, but I did get quite a bit done on the way back. I started on it Christmas Day, so I could work on it when we were driving home that time at Christmas. Let's keep track of it. That's my crochet hook. It goes into the box, and it did give me a little bit funky here, but that's what it is. So what I also have is my Mosiac blanket. The Mosiac blanket is it's named Fleur, and it's designed by Anke Wintermans. It's a Dutch designer for Mosiac crochet. I haven't done anything since last time, so I'm just gonna quickly show it to you so you can keep it in memory that I do have this VIP. We just didn't have time to work on it. This is a project there. I really need to sit with a table for this where I have like the pattern and I can count and witch and watch. Maybe it gets easier when it gets a bit bigger, but right now the repetitions of the rows are a little smaller, so it's just basically easier to have it on what is it called? Just to have it on the table when I'm working on it. I am at row 21. I keep track like this, lines. I'm using Stylecraft Special DK yarn. It's 100% premium acrylic, and each skeins are 3.5 ounces to 322 yards. So that is 100 grams to 295 meters. You can tumble at cool. You can iron cold, or cool low temperature iron. You can dry clean it, wash at 30 degrees machine washable. So that's 85 degrees Fahrenheit. Right now I am using burgundy and cream. These are the skeins that I'm using. I'm just keeping them in here to keep a bit track, because every time I take them out, they get a little bit loose. I work with them simultaneously in the sense of that I carry the yarn every round with, but in the round I only work with that specific color. Last color I worked with here was the burgundy, so the next round I'm going to work with white, and I basically carry it up, as you can see here. The yarn is being carried with for each round. This is the back side of the project. It's kind of looking mosaic shaped as well, but the real pretty beautiness is on this side. And it's simply, it's quite simple worked in the round, and it's the overlay style, which means that all single crochets goes in the back loop of the previous rounds, and all the double crochets is the one that's overlaid. They go into the front loop of the round before the previous round. So if I'm to work white single crochets, I would place them on the burgundy here in the back loop. If I'm to work double crochets, I will go down here in the round before. So in this case, that would be in the white row up here in the top, and I would lay them down there. Quite interesting way of doing things, and I'm actually enjoying doing this, but it does take a little bit of coordination and reading and timing and studying, but I'm slowly getting my hands on it, and it's not too bad to do. It is a blanket project, which is something I swear to God that I'm not really into making blankets, because it just takes so long. It's my eternity project. This project I will not have finished this year. Maybe I will if I'm surprising myself, but right now I'm not expecting to have it finished. I'm using a 4mm crochet hook for it, which is also what's called for by the pattern and by the yarn. But yeah, I'm not a big blanket maker, at least this big blanket maker, but this is gonna be like 1.5 meters by 1.5 meters kind of ish blanket. So apparently now I am a blanket maker, but it's a blanket that I just slowly make over time, you know, no stress. I'll work on it when I feel like it. Basically, yeah, no stress, no rush. Then the next I have is my MAL make along, and that is the Disley Sisterz make along, which is a shawl. You can either crochet or knit this make along. They started on February 1st and it's running until April 30th. So we are about halfway through. For me, I'm also pretty close to being halfway through. Looking at the yarn I have left, I have 4 weeks to go. And then I need blocking and etc. to be done. But yeah, I'm about, and that's based on the fact that I'm doing a color per week. I could do more or quicker or whatever, but I'm not. I like just being a color per week. It's kind of what we discussed when I started on it, and it's working out pretty okay so far, I think. And so therefore, I'm gonna show you guys how long I am. And I just finished this minty green. The minty green just finished. It is quite nice. I'm not sure if I can actually show this decently, but The minty green just finished. And we are now gonna add the crown row. And if I read the pattern correctly, and I just need to keep track here, what I'm gonna start is now adding this section, but here. But I am going to change color when I'm doing so. And it also looks like I did not make any more mistakes with the minty green, so I didn't have to frog it, at least not yet. I am going to add the crown row first to make sure I don't need to frog before I cut the yarn, because last time I cut the yarn being optimistic that I had made everything perfectly and realized I had not. So in the end, the row just before, so this light blue row, were made one shorter, and I changed a few things. It's okay. I actually right now like almost better on the back side than on the front side, but yeah. It's gonna look really nice when this is blocked out, that's 100% sure. And the next color I'm going to be adding is a bit darker mint teal, maybe. It's a colorway 94. This is the one that's going on next. So just to compare these, we're going from this and we're going on here. It's the Hobbii Friends 8 for cotton, colorway 94, and it is 50 gram skeins, so 1.75 ounces to 160 meters, so that's 174 yards, 100% cotton, classified as a fine one. I would probably personally say it's more like a 2-weight, but cool. I am going to have a bunch of leftovers because obviously this is, so I will have a bunch of scrap yarns, or I'm probably just having this bag of extra things because I might supply them up. Or what I'm gonna do maybe with some of these yarns is make some of the mini amigurumi projects, because I got the books and I reviewed those mini amigurumi books. Again, I did that in February. I had some first-hand impression of the mini amigurumi books by Sarah Bundio. I got them from Amazon at great price, and I got the books, and I want to make some of those amigurumis. And I'm sure some of these colors will work actually pretty well with these amigurumis, because I got them for general animals, I got them for birds, and I got them for the ocean. And that's 3 books, all quite gorgeous. But this color is the next that's going to be added, and that will be added when we meet again next week, because that's pretty much it. I'm adding and spending up a color per week, and that is the goal I have for this. Even though a few days ago I really felt I was actually ready, Monday maybe? And Monday I was kind of ready to add this one, but I was like, nope. You also have the other projects. This one can wait. We still have until the 30th of April. I've also linked in the description box to the video down below to the rules of the MAL that the Disley Sisterz Creationz are having. It's a video that says the rules and everything. You can enter right now if you want to, and you don't need to be finished by April 30th. And you can enter to win some really nice prizes. According that, one of these 2 lovely ladies, so Linda and June, they make some absolutely gorgeous project bags that you can win by entering them out. So wouldn't that be nice? Like, I would really love to win one of those. That would be quite cool. So that's for my shawl, and it's doing okay. So I'm just keeping this one out of the bag. I have a bag here with the colors in. The blue is kind of being a bit messed up here. That would be the 3 left. So after this one, we'll be adding this green, and then this is a very dark green. And then I will be done. So I have 4 colors left. I just have 4 colors left and I'm done. It's going so fast. It's sometimes a bit difficult to believe, but that's how it is. And I'm using a 3.5mm crochet hook. Pattern says 3, but when I used the 3, it went a bit too tight. I do also have a tight tension. So it was logic to hook up a bit. I was wondering maybe a 3.75 might have been better for me. That's for a future project maybe to test out. And I definitely also want to try to use one of my cakes for making this, because I think a flowing gradient would also be absolutely gorgeous with this kind of shawl. But it's not what I've done, but it's what I think that could be really, really nice. The last project I started on, not last week, but the week before. Or did I start on last week? We did talk about it last Yarn Talk video, and that is the Firefly sweater. The Firefly sweater I started on based on the poll from you guys, from all my subscribers. I had a poll running on my community tab for the Firefly sweater. The Firefly sweater is, it's a Hobbii free pattern. I've linked to it down below. That said, I'm not using the Hobbii yarns for it. What I did make sure is the yarns I'm using on the crochet hook size I'm using, I were able to create the same size. Like I made a test swatch. I normally never make test swatches. I'm really poor at that. But I did it for this, and I found the right size for everything to seemingly to work with this. Though I'm not 100% sure if it's gonna be okay. We'll see. What I also did is I made the panel a bit longer because Firefly is a cropped version, and I personally like a bit longer sweater. And I'm using the Lemmy Yarns Soft Sensation, which are these gorgeous yarns. They look like mohair. They aren't mohair, but they're super squishy soft. This is colorway 12 and this is colorway 62. Specs are the same, so I'm gonna to give you the opportunity to look here. As you can see, it is a very thin yarn. This is really lace weight yarn, though the fluff makes it a little bit different. So what I've done is I double layer them. So one strand of this and one strand of this. I use that to make my thread, and I use a 4.5mm crochet hook for it. They recommend actually a 4.5mm knitting needles for it, and that's not double layered even. Hand wash, do not iron, do not tumble dry, do not bleach, can be dry cleaned. It's 25 grams, so that's a half of like the cotton cakes. So 2 of these together is 1.75 ounces, so it's a little bit more than 0.8 but less than 0.9. like it's 0.875 ounces to 200 meters of yarn. So that's 220-ish, quite close, 218 maybe yards. It's 76% acrylic and 24% polyamide. So it is 100% non-fiber, non-animal fiber yarn. So it's good for those that has allergies against fibers, but they're not natural fibers either. That said, it feels really nice and it feels really light. This is what I have left of the 2 first skeins, and I am getting close to having the first half of the front panel done. This is where we are at, and it feels really light. So this isn't even 50 grams. So it's going to be a very nice light sweater. And what is basically, you can see that I'm slowly here decreasing for the front piece. So this should be something along these lines. And then it goes all the way about to my belt, a little bit longer maybe. So what I do need, I think, is I might need to add, I need to read the pattern, because I think I'm probably supposed to start increasing again here, but that seems too soon. I might need to add 1 or 2 rows of just like normal here, and then I start increasing. But that's basically how it is looking right now. So I've made half a sweater, well, quarter of a sweater, and that would be a polo, right? Like a pullover kind of thing, because I wouldn't have arms in it. But yeah, and it's working up very nicely. Just don't want to frog it, because it is this fluffy texture. You can also see that when I'm holding it up. You can see it has this halo fluff of it. But it's very, very nice and soft. I'm gonna regret the fact that I made a sweater that's gonna be hand wash only, but that's a detail. It's working up quite nicely. So I am mainly following the pattern in many aspects, but I did make it longer, about this much. But I'm mainly following the pattern roughly, and I'm just adapting it to me, to my own needs and desires. And that's what I like about crochet, the ability we have to adapt to make a project fit our needs or fit our desires or fit what we like. That's so wonderful about crochets. You can do it with knitting as well, I know. But yeah, so that's definitely something I enjoy. Have you used patterns and altered them based on your needs? Let me know here in the comments down below. I'm definitely happy to hear what you do and what you tend to do if you find something nice. If there's something you don't like, would you change it to fit your likes, or will you just follow the pattern because you're not confident enough to try the change? For me, I don't know if this is going to work out. I'm just trying and I'll see, you know, because if you don't try, you don't know if it will work, and you might regret for not trying, even though it might. If it doesn't work, you learned it won't work, and you won't learn anything if you don't try. So that's kind of my mindset to many things here in life. We need to try to find out if it works or not. And that's actually a mindset that I got from home. Because, you know, I'm from a background with, there isn't many higher educations and so on. And I had dreams for doing specific things. And my dad was kind of raised from his stepdad by the, okay, you can't do that because you're not clever enough, or you can't do that because whatever. Instead of just giving them the chance to try and find out if they can or not by their own. If you try and you fail, you learned. You can't, rather than, you can also see it as a victory. You try and it worked out and you succeeded. And that grows us as people and as humans. So I've always been told by my parents that, honey, if you don't know if you can do it or not, just try, because, you know, if you can, all hail to you, like all hail, well, blessings and kudos and everything, respect. And if you can't, it's not a big deal. It's just, okay, you can't. And I'm trying to take this with me in my projects when I crochet as well. So that's definitely a wonderful lesson, and I can only recommend you guys, if you haven't tried, please try. Just try if that makes you happy. And most importantly is, if it doesn't work out, just make sure you learn from it, because then it's not been for nothing. That's the most important part. With these last few wise words of today, I'm going to say thank you for watching this video in full and supporting me. Thank you for being on my journey. Don't forget that I do have my 1000 subscribers giveaway running, and it will be running until the 27th of March on my channel. If you haven't entered, I recommend you to enter. I've linked to that video in the description box down below as well if you're interested. Until then, I would say take care, happy crafting, and stay safe. Bye.